The politicians in the pulpit preaching transphobic hate need to sit down because what they're preaching is in direct contradiction to a Bible that is actually loving and inclusive to trans people. Hi, I'm Jeremy. I'm a deep skeptic, also a pastor. If it sounds like I'm mad, it's because I'm mad because this kind of stuff makes me so angry. It makes me want to turn over the tables. But I'm going to take a deep breath, calm down, and just explain this. So when you go to the Bible, you're actually not going to find words like transsexual, transgender, intersex, gender expansive, any of the words that we use today, because those words are tied to our modern understanding of gender and sexuality. And so you're not going to find those words there because they're new words and they're tied to new specific ideas. The word you're going to be looking for is the word eunuch, because that is the word that describes people who experienced the things that are close to or similar to what trans people in our world today experience. And even that word has a progression of thought that goes sort of throughout the Bible. And the earlier you get in the Bible, the closer it is to referring to a man who had his reproductive organs either removed or damaged. That's not what Jesus is talking about, and we'll get there in just a second, but the earlier you get, the more it's talking about that. I think maybe one of the most mind-blowing things to me about all of this is that the Old Testament itself shows a progression of more inclusion, more love, just in the Old Testament. So the book of Deuteronomy, it says that eunuchs are not allowed to come to church. But then by the time Isaiah is around, God says, actually, I love all of those people, and I want all of those people to be included in my family, and I want all of those people to be able to worship me. I want all of those people to be able to come to church. Ah! And let's just be clear, if the Old Testament shows more of a progression of thought and inclusiveness than your church, you have a real problem. But let's fast forward to Jesus, because Jesus takes this to a whole other level. Like at the very base level, Jesus expands this idea of non-binary people. He says some people are born that way. He says some people are have that done to them. Some people do that to themselves. Some people choose it later in life. I'm just saying. Can you even believe how progressive Jesus is for like the year 30 or whatever it is when he's saying these things? But I think what I love the most about it is Jesus is using trans people as an example, but it's as a positive example. What Jesus is saying is like, hey, you should actually be more like these trans people, more like these eunuchs. Now, I'll be honest, if you find that passage, you read it, it's a weird passage. Like the advice that Jesus is giving is kind of strange, but what's important to say is that he expands this and he's using those people as a positive example. It's not that there's something horrible about them and wrong and everything bad and evil and sinful. He's like, actually, they got something right. You should be more like them. And the next time you're around someone who has any connection to the Bible that dead names somebody, you need to shut it down, because the Bible is full of people who change their names because their new name fully reflects who they are. Saul, Paul, Abram, Abraham. You just choose which one you want to use because the Bible is full of that practice. And yeah, I'm mad because I don't ever want anyone to feel like God doesn't love them or like God doesn't want to include them in what God is doing or God doesn't want to have a relationship with them. Because I honestly believe that religious belief can be really helpful. It can be a really important part of life. It can help you love and accept yourself. It can help you find meaning and purpose and grow into the best version of yourself that you can be. And religion can help you get there when it's not laced with cyanide like what's going on in some of these churches. And so, yeah, I just thought you might want to know.